Welcome to the ChemZap Chemistry. In this video, I will discuss 10 subjective questions based on the topic, what is mixture? These questions include 2 marks, 3 marks and 5 marks question that will help you to score good marks in your school internal exams. So stay tuned, watch the video till end and understand and copy all the questions answered in your notebook. So without wasting time, let us start. Question number 1. Define a mixture. Explain its composition in terms of chemical bonding. This is the 2-mark question. So now check the answer. See that a mixture is a physical combination of 2 or more substances. Which type of substance? Pure substances. So these substances may be your what? Element, may be your what? Compounds or both. And one basic fundamental concept of the mixture is that between the component of the mixture there will be no any chemical bond or there will be no any chemical reaction will take place. That's why this is the what? Mixture. The key concept of the mixture is that the component of the mixtures are not chemically bonded and each substance stays completely independent. Now question number 2. In a physical mixture of iron fillings and sulfur powder, why do the iron fillings retain their magnetic properties? This is the 2-mark question again. Now see that in the mixture of iron fillings and sulfur, right? Just they are sitting together, right? There is no any chemical bond formations going on. So sulfur will retain its property and iron will retain its property. So when you will heat iron and sulfur in a special condition, then ferrous sulfide will form, right? But here only we are mixing the iron and sulfur. And this is the mixture of iron and sulfur. So in this there is no any chemical bond form between the iron and sulfur. That's why iron will retain its property. So which property is mentioned here? Magnetic property. So check the answer now first. So now see that this iron fillings and sulfur powder are only physically mixed without any chemical bond formation. So once you will bring the magnet, so what will happen? All the iron which is present in this mixture will come and attract magnet and it will attach to the what? Magnet. And by that way we can separate the iron from this iron sulfur mixture. So again the basic concept about the mixture is that there is no any chemical bond formed between the component of the mixture. Now question number 3. Why can a physical mixture of sand and water be prepared in any arbitrary ratio? Meaning is that in any composition when sand and water you will mix, you will get the mixture only. Now check the answer. This is a very easy questions, right? This is a 2-mark question. In this diagram once you will check, then you will find you are mixing the 1 spoon of the sand and water or you mixing the what? 10 spoon of sand and water. So ratio of sand and water in this is different and the ratio of sand or water in this glass is what? Different. So but both are considered as what? Mixture, because mixture can be prepared in any composition. So both glasses will consider as a mixture because there is no any chemical bond formed between the component of the mixture. And that's why there is no any fixed chemical formula for a mixture. So the component of the mixture do not combine in a fixed stoichiometric ratio because there is no any chemical combinations going on. So there is no any question of stoichiometric coefficient. If there is a chemical reaction is going to happen, then we can think about the stoichiometric coefficient. But no chemical reaction, meaning is what? No chemical bond is forming, meaning is that there is no reason to think about the stoichiometric ratio of the component or constituent of a given mixture. Now question number 4. Why does a liquid mixture of salt and water lack a sharp constant boiling point? This is the one of the best question, right? And many times you will find this question in your school internal exams, right? And this question is of 2 marks. First of all, check the answer of these questions, right? Now check first reason. Now check the first statement. Salt water has a what? Variable composition. Meaning is what? There is a different amount of salt, dissolved salt present in a salt water. So when you will boil it, then what will happen? Only water molecules will evaporate and convert into what? Vapor state. So dissolved salt will be remain behind the liquid. Because of this, what will happen? The amount of salt dissolved in water will increase continuously, right? Why? See that when you will increase the temperature of the salt water, the water will evaporate into the what? Its vapor state. As the water will remove in the form of vapor, then the quantity of the salt dissolved in salt water will increase. So meaning is that composition of the salt water mixture will change. That is, the composition of the salt water will change with the change of each and every degree of temperature. Because of that one, the salt water will not show the what? Fixed boiling point or melting point. But in another way, once you will check the pure water don't have the what any dissolved salts. So its boiling point is always fixed. Now question number 5. Compare a physical mixture of hydrogen and oxygen gas with a chemical compound water. This is your what 3 marks question. Now check the comparison between the hydrogen and oxygen mixture and with the chemical compound of water. See that when you are having the hydrogen and oxygen as a mixture without any chemical reaction, then what will happen? The hydrogen and oxygen molecule will be what non-bonded. This is the hydrogen, this is the oxygen molecule. There is no any chemical reactions happening. So one thing is that hydrogen is what highly flammable and oxygen is what help in combustion. It will help. It will retain its property. But once there is a chemical bond formed between the hydrogen and oxygen in a special condition of temperature and pressure, right, then what will happen? Water molecule will form. Once water molecule will form, then first its ratio will fixed by mass 1:8 ratio. So whatever the water molecule are present in this molecule, in this container, right, all water molecules are having the what fixed stoichiometric coefficient. But as a mixture, hydrogen and oxygen without any chemical bond formation, there is no any fixed stoichiometric ratio. So bonding wise, once you will check between the hydrogen and oxygen, there is no any chemical bond form, right? But in water, what will happen? One chemical bond will form between the hydrogen and oxygen. Properties, once you will check when hydrogen and oxygen will be as a what mixture, so it will retain its property. As for example, hydrogen is what flammable, oxygen will support in combustion. Now question number 6. A student dissolves sugar crystal in water. Very good. Analyze this process. Do the sugar molecules undergo a chemical reaction to form compounds? Answer is that no. Because in a mixture, there is no any chemical bond formed between the component of the mixture. Now check the answer. So when you will dissolve the sugar in water, then what will happen? The sugar molecule will be surrounded by the water molecule. So the sweetness of the sugar molecule will be retained. So the bonding of the sugar molecule will not change. Here water molecule will work as a what solvent, which will surround the sugar molecule and it will form the what one type of mixture. So the composition of sugar and water is variable. Sugar will retain its original properties and chemical structures. So it proved that there is no any chemical reaction occurs between the water and sugar molecules. So dissolving the sugar molecules in water is a purely physical change, not the chemical change. So in this mixture, what will happen? Water is surrounding the what sugar molecules. So during this process, no new chemical bond form between the water and sugar molecules, and even the bond of the sugar molecules do not break. That's why the dissolution of sugar in water is a physical change, not the chemical change. Now question number 7. Describe the molecular state of atmospheric air. Why is it scientifically classified as a physical mixture? See that we know that atmospheric air is having the what major gases present: nitrogen, oxygen and carbon dioxide gas. Now check that what is the answer of this question first. See that first of all, oxygen molecule is present, nitrogen molecule is present, carbon dioxide molecule is present. Between these gases, no chemical bond form. All gases are existing independently. There is no any chemical bond formed between the nitrogen and oxygen and carbon dioxide. That's why these component of the mixture, atmospheric air, so each gases behaves independently, and there is a 100% retention of properties of each component of the air. That's why atmospheric air is a mixture, not a compound. Now question number 8. Explain the 5 fundamental characteristics of a mixture. Provide a scientific examples from the text to support each characteristics. This is your what 5 marks question first. So we need to write your at least 5 characteristics. So now check the answer of this question first. First characteristics is that there is no any chemical reaction occurs between the component of the mixture. We already discussed sulfur and iron mixture. Mixture will have the what variable composition. As for example, we already did in previous question sugar and water mixture. Now retention of the properties, just now we did air, right, having the what mixture of the different gases, and all the component of the air will have the what, and all the components of the air is retaining its properties, right? And then you can check the what salty seawater or salt water or seawater. Now the component of the mixture can be separated by any physical method. As for example, the mixture of iron and sulfur can be separated with the help of magnet. The component of the air can be separated through the what fractional distillation method. Now the most important property is that the mixture will have the what variable boiling point and melting point because of having different composition. Now question number 9. Write a detailed comparison between the physical mixture of iron and sulfur and the chemical compound iron and sulfide. Your answer must address bonding, physical properties, mass ratios and energy change. Again, this is what 5 marks question. So this is a very good question, right? See that what is the answer of this question. First is that when you will mix the iron with sulfur without any heating, any process, in this mixture there is no any energy changes going to occur. But once you will mix the iron with sulfur and heat it, then a new substance will form, which is what iron sulfide. In the mixture of iron and sulfur, what will happen? Composition will be different, but here the iron sulfide will have the what fixed stoichiometric ratio, which is what 7:4 by mass. For mixing of iron and sulfur, no high amount of heat energy is required, but for a chemical bond formation, for a chemical reaction between the iron and sulfur, where iron and sulfur will combine chemically, right, then very high amount of heat energy we need to supply, then iron sulfide will form. When you will mix the iron and sulfur, there will be no any color change, but when this iron will combine with this sulfur, then the ferrous sulfide will form, and this is the color of this compound, which is what? Having the what? Dull black color. Now, in the mixture of iron and sulfur, iron is retaining its magnetic property, but in this ferrous sulfide, iron will lose its magnetic property. It will not remain magnet. So these are the comparison between the mixture of iron and sulfur and the chemical compound of iron sulfur ferrous sulfide. Now question number 10. Describe the molecular structure of seawater as a liquid mixture. Contrast this with a pure liquid compound. Why does this molecular difference affect their physical phase transition? This is again 5 marks question. Now check the answer of this question first. See that seawater is a mixture. This is the seawater having the what variable composition. So we'll have the what variable boiling point. Pure liquid water is only pure compound. It don't have the what any dissolved salt, nothing is there. So its boiling point will be fixed. So this is the basic difference between the pure water and seawater, and because of this difference only there is a differences in the properties of distilled water and seawater. So that is for today's video. I hope all 10 questions helped you to understand the topic what is mixture. If you found this video helpful, make sure to like, share and subscribe to my channel. Don't forget to write these answers in your notebook. I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.